What's up you guys, Mo Awesome from Awesome MTB. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Awesome MTB Fall Bike Buyer's Guide. What's up you guys, Mo Awesome from Awesome MTB and welcome back to our Awesome MTB Fall Bike Buyer's Guide. Over the last few months, I've been testing out some of the best bikes on the market. Now in today's video, we're gonna be breaking down the Pivot Mach 4SL as part of our XC portion of this buyer's guide. But if XC isn't for you, I've also been testing full power EMTBs, gravel bikes, as well as pedaling enduro bikes. And if none of those categories are for you, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we have a lot more projects coming in 2026. Huge thank you to you guys for your support on these series. If you guys can let us know in the comments section if you guys do enjoy these series, it really does help out the channel a ton. And also thank you to the companies who helped make this project possible, and that is Tailwind Nutrition, Feedback Sports, Formula 100, and Pit Viper. Now, like I said, in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the Pivot Cycles Mach 4SL, and you guys know I'm a little bit of a Pivot fanboy. I love the work of Chris Kokalis and the team. I have had so much fun on Pivot bikes over the years, and on top of that, we are here in their backyard of South Mountain here in Phoenix, Arizona, and the Pivot Mach 4SL has been insane out on the trails. So what is the Pivot Mach 4SL? Well, it's an XC full suspension race bike. So up front, we have 120 millimeters of travel, and in the rear, we have either 96 or 115 millimeters of travel, depending on how we have it orientated. And we also have a classic DW link suspension design. So unlike some other XC race bikes in this test, we don't have that flex day option. Once again, the tried and true DW link suspension approach. Now, the Mach 4SL was in our previous XC buyer's guide, but this is one thing that I absolutely love about Pivot is they are constantly updating their builds to make sure you are getting the best parts for the year. And here we have a full Team SRAM XX transmission flight attendant build. Up front, we have 120 millimeter SID Ultimate, once again a flight attendant fork. And in the rear, we do have a SID Lux Ultimate flight attendant rear shock. Now, once again, with flight attendant, it does work best with the whole system. So we have a Reverb AXS dropper post on here with a WTB Silverado saddle with carbon rails. For the drivetrain, we do have a SRAM XX transmission drivetrain, once again with the power meter on there to pair with the flight attendant system. Now up front for the cockpit, we have Pivot's own carbon handlebars as well as their grip and stem. For stopping power, we have SRAM Motive Ultimate brakes on there, so they do have the carbon levers, a ton of stopping power out of those. And for wheels, we do have a classic Reynolds Carbon XC wheel set on here with Industry 9 Hydra hubs. For tires, we have a Recon Race up front and a Recon Race in the rear. Now in terms of weight, the size extra large Pivot Mach 4SL with clipless pedals is coming in at about 26.26 pounds, which given the fact that this is a full flight attendant build is very impressive. You guys know I absolutely love Pivot bikes. There's just something about that suspension profile on these bikes, how efficient they are at pedaling while still remaining a blast on the downhills. The Pivot Mach 4SL is no exception, and I actually really did enjoy the full RockShox build on here. Now, before we talk about the things that I absolutely love about the Mach 4SL and some things that I don't necessarily love, let's take you guys out for a ride out here in South Mountain, show you guys how the bike performs. What's up you guys? Just want to take a quick second and thank today's video sponsor, and that is Jensen USA. If you didn't know, Jensen USA is one of the largest online bike shops out there, and they are incredible. They have so many bikes and parts in stock ready to ship to you with same-day shipping. Their prices are incredible and their customer service is second to none. They are rider-owned and have been around for 30 years, so they know how important it is to not only get the best deals, but also keep the time off the bike to a minimum. So like I said, they offer same-day shipping, and their customer service is backed by gear advisors to help make picking the right item or bike out very simple. And like I said, the prices are insane, some of the best deals in the industry, and they also have a really rad Corona store location. In that Corona store location, there are so many insane deals on bikes going on right now, and it's super cool to also have a physical location to complement their awesome website. I know some people are a little bit more comfortable checking out bikes in person. Once again, you guys, we can't recommend Jensen USA enough. Not only do they have some of the best deals in the industry, they also have the best customer service as well. We'll go ahead and link their website in the description of this video. They have some insane deals going on this holiday season, so be sure to check it out. Huge thank you, Jensen USA, for supporting this video. Now let's get into the review. Welcome to another review, this time the Pivot Mach 4SL. And you know when a team has home court advantage, that's basically what this test is, because the Mach 4SL, its home is South Mountain because they're just down the street. So excited to show you guys how this bike does out here. Couple little steppy ledges, no issues for the technically capable Mach 4SL. That's going to be a theme for this review because I would say the Mach 4SL probably one of the most technically capable bikes out of the test. The more looser sections of climbs and the Pivot Mach 4SL, no issues for it. Once again, the climbing profile, I think, for tech climbs is the best on the Pivot. I am a little bit of a Pivot fanboy. I love DW Link, and I think they do such a good job with it. But I think it paired with RockShox, man, kind of best of both worlds. DW Link efficiency with a slightly more muted, softer feel to the suspension, and I love it. Power through. Once again, those up and over maneuvers, so easy on the Mach 4SL due to those shorter stays. A little bit of downhill action before we got a small climb and then a big downhill. But this one, very technical, and you kind of got to be very precise with your lines like that. And overall, I would say the Mach 4SL stiffness definitely helps a ton with that. Here we're gonna go up and down. That's another section that I really do love the Mach 4SL. Those just ledgy up and overs. I feel like that shorter reach and just a little bit of a snappier profile make it so good for that. We have the bottom bracket test, up and over. No issues for the Mach 4SL. And once again, so maneuverable down here to where you can really put this bike exactly where you want to. Here, and then just punch it straight up. That Mach 4SL, like I said, the most maneuverable as well. That shorter wheelbase is a true testament to that. So up and over here, no issues for that Mach 4. Now we are on national trail, and I would say if there was going to be some weak spots for the Mach 4SL, it probably would get exposed here just because there is a lot of high speeds on this section. And I would say high speed stability, not necessarily the forte of the Mach 4SL. Once again, shorter wheelbase lends itself to be more maneuverable, but it comes at the sacrifice of high speed stability. Maneuverability comes back into play on sections like this, where you're able to kind of come in super easily, didn't even need to whip the rear end around. And this is an XL. You come to sections like this, it's gonna be very chunky. And like I said, not necessarily the most stable out of the test. However, I would say very stiff and capable. And you can tell even as a bigger rider that the bike itself has a very stiff feel to it. And I would also say that leads to a little bit more confidence firing, especially somewhere like here, where everything is so sharp and you're always worried about your bike hitting a rock. Coming through the chunk. Nice, no issues for that Mach 4SL. The other thing I really appreciated about the Mach 4SL is that if you have another Pivot, say you have a Firebird or a Trail Cat, I would say the overall suspension profile, even though it's a little bit more efficient, the bike itself feels very Pivot-like. And I would say it would complement the quiver really well. Nice. Ooh, see how tight this bottom section is and how you really need to be precise? I would say that was actually probably one of the most precise times I've gone through that. And I'd say a lot of that is just from how maneuverable this bike is. Once again, home court advantage, you could tell on that section. That's kind of what this bike is made for. Very tight, twisty XC. Sit fork is so good. And we're gonna come in through this bottom section, hold the line and make this section right here. We got it. Once again, you guys, that's so maneuverable. This is a size XL. Granted, numbers a little on the shorter side, but overall so fun from the Mach 4SL. And what an amazing ride. Well, let's get back and talk about it.
So the first thing that I absolutely love about the Pivot Mach 4SL is that suspension feel out on the trails. I still think going with that DW Link suspension approach on an XC race bike, even though you're not getting the weight savings, the traction and performance out on the trail from the suspension design is insane. And you can clearly tell, especially out here in South Mountain where it's very chunky and where traction is a high priority, I can clearly see the benefits of that DW Link suspension approach. The bike just stays planted all over the tech while still having a very efficient feel out of the saddle when you start to put the power down. But at the end of the day, when it comes time for those ascents, like I said, the bike is glued to the ground and you still get that very playful feel in and out of corners that I absolutely love about DWing. Now, another thing that I loved about the Mach 4SL was that geo. I do think this is the most maneuverable bikes out of this test. Like I said, the rear chainstay is a little on the shorter side, the reach a little on the shorter side as well. So I would say for more technical style courses like out here in South Mountain, especially when it gets tight and twisty, the geo just makes so much more sense. It's much more maneuverable. And I would say you have a lot more control of the bike through tech because you're able to put the bike exactly where you want to and whip it around, especially like I said, when things get tight and twisty. That's where the maneuverability of the Mach 4SL is very apparent. And yeah, I would say one of the most nimble XC race bikes of this test. Now, another thing that I loved about the Mach 4SL is that efficiency, especially when you pair the DW-Link suspension with that flight attendant. I do think that RockShox has a little bit of a softer element to the suspension profile. That's why I like it when it's open over tech. I just feel like it feels a little bit plusher, but when you pair it with the flight attendant and you start to put the power down and it tightens up, Chris Kokalis and the Pivot team are insanely good at making sure every single one of their bikes are some of the best pedalers in the game, and the Mach 4SL is no different. When you get out of the saddle on this, that lockout with the flight attendant, as well as the pedaling profile of the Mach 4SL, gives you one of the most efficient feeling bikes out of the saddle in sprints. And yeah, I was very impressed by the pedaling nature of the Mach 4SL. And another thing that I absolutely loved about the Mach 4SL was its confidence in tech. Once again, I think that's going to be attributed to it having a little bit more of a sophisticated suspension profile out on the trails, so the bike stays glued to the ground when you need it to. But on top of that, it having a little bit more of a maneuverable geo and the stack height being a little bit taller up there gives you a lot more confidence in tech. Once again, I think if you are going to be racing in any techie environment, the Mach 4SL is definitely going to be a bike that you should consider. Now, what are some things that I didn't necessarily love about the Mach 4SL? I would like to see some longer numbers from the Mach 4SL, especially being 6'2". I have a tall saddle height. I do like large reaches and I do like size proportional chainstays. So for me personally, it would be nice to see what this bike would be capable of if the reach went a little bit longer and you did get those size proportional chainstays on here. And sticking with the geo, I would like to see that seat angle get a little bit steeper. Once again, 6'2", 805 saddle height, so tall saddle height. I definitely would appreciate a little bit of a steeper seat angle. So to summarize things up, I would say the Pivot Mach 4SL punches way above its weight in terms of performance out on the trails. I think it is one of the most capable technical XC race bikes on the market. The efficiency is insane, both uphill as well as downhill. I was thoroughly impressed by the technical performance of the Mach 4SL on the trail. How did the Pivot Mach 4SL stack up against some of the other bikes in this test? You guys are gonna have to stick around to the conclusion video of the XC portion of this buyer's guide. Stay tuned for that. But if you guys have any questions about the Mach 4SL that I didn't answer in this video, let me know in the comment section. And until next time, you guys, ride awesome.